Welcome back for lesson 3. We're going to have a few different parts to this so you can stop and start. But first, hopefully by now, and if not by now, then I need you to download the lesson 2 drawing shapes with the Lego guy. And if you have, then it should be in your downloads. So we're going to go to Open. I'm in downloads, clicking on the side, and then there he is, lesson 2, Lego drawing shapes. All right, I'm going to double click and he should open up for us in here. Now, if you have a mess, kind of like I do over here with all of my stuff in different places, we can clean this up and put all of the tools back where they belong. We're going to go under Window, Workspace, because the workspace is messy. And then we're going to click on Reset Essentials. So it kind of tucks everything, look at that, back over where it belongs. Makes things a little handy. You can move things where you want later. All right. So we have this Lego guy, and we're going to build him eventually, but I've got several things I need to show you as far as once you make a shape, or how to make a shape, we can alter them into other things. So we're going to focus primarily on this upper left side. So I'm going to use my zoom tool and zoom in close. We're not going to look at the Lego guy for right now. We're going to look at the shapes that are going to eventually make the Lego guy. Make sense? Awesome. If not, remember, you can pause. You can rewind a little bit, hear me say it, whatever you need, okay? So pause and do, and then keep going and do some more. If you need to rewind, remember nobody's watching. Nobody knows that you're rewinding, all right? I want to make sure you understand what we're doing. So rectangles are pretty simple. We've got those down here in our rectangle toolbox, which has, when you hold on it, a multitude of other shapes. So we're going to start by drawing a basic shape here. You can make this guy any color you want. So I double clicked on the color picker over here. Remember, you could choose a color from over here by fill. And these are sort of the predestined ones. They're already picked for you. Here, you can choose any flavor that you'd like. So I'm going to make this guy, this shape blue, just for kicks and giggles. Again, you make it whatever color you want. I'm going to draw right over the top of this shape. And remember, if you hold down Shift, all right, you will constrain and make yourself a perfect shape, whether it's a circle and it's a perfect circle, or here in this case where it's a perfect square. All right, for our purposes today, I'm going to have you take off the outline stroke. It's a little easier to go over here to do. I'm going to hit the outline stroke icon on the right, and I'm going to hit the little slash mark. That means no. All right. So now we're just playing with a plain color, right? I'm going to move this guy over here. Now, notice that this one has rounded corners. So that's going to be our goal. And we have a new thing that I want to talk about. These little circles on the corners are called widgets. I'm going to zoom in just a little bit closer just on this guy so that we would have a little better view of it. Okay, so here we are. We have anchor, 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 anchor. All the way around, we see these square anchor dots, right? Inside of the shape, we see the circle with a dot. And look what happens when I get close to it with my selection tool. You see this little arc at the bottom of my selection tool? That means if I drag on this guy, look at that, all 4 of my corners drag simultaneously inward. Try that. And look, now they're all at the exact same spot, but they're inside the square. So again, if I want to round corners from my regular square, I'm going to choose what amount by just dragging on one of these guys. Okay. Now, here's something else to note. Again, this is called a widget. These are our anchor points, and our shape is inside this red outlined bounding box. So these are all the parts really to this shape. But what, just hypothetical, what if you didn't want all four corners to move at the same amount? All right. So say this upper right corner, I want it to go a little bit further, but I don't want the other three. That means I need to click that widget. Look how it turned a little bit more red. You might have to zoom in on your iPad to kind of see, but it's a little bit more red than it is white. That means only this one is selected. And now look at my cursor. My cursor only has an arc and it has one little circled widget dot. So now I can drag this one even further and make some other crazy shape. Check that out. So you can make the widgets move by themselves by clicking on them, and then you see the icon change there, and you can bring it out back, or you can take it all the way straight. And now you have a completely different shape, right? So they either move together if you just drag on them, or if you select one, only that guy moves. All right. So that's the story on widgets. Hover over one, hover, not clicking, hover, they all move. Click on one, just that one. Groovy? Okay. So we're going to move on. We're going to do a little bit more with this square. I'm going to back out just a little bit till we see, there we go, till we can see our set of three here at the top. Notice we have this sort of trapezoidal kind of a thing going on. Well, I don't know. It's like a narrow, it's on the way to a triangle, but it's not really. My geometry terms elude me at the moment, but we're going to make one more square right over the top of this guy. You can use the same color, different color. Hold down Shift, make sure you get that perfect square, right? Now I'm going to move it over. Here we go. I'm going to move it over to this guy. Now, we know that this guy is more narrow at the top and he's regular at the bottom. Well, how the heck are we going to do that? All right, so let's zoom in on him. I'm going to, all right, and we'll kind of move over. There we go. So we know that it's more narrow at the top. This means we have to pull this over and pull this over. We need to mess with anchor points. All right, to mess with anchor points, we know that this guy here is our direct selection tool. You can even see the little icon here. All right, look how it's moving individual little anchors. Click, and then watch it click, right? So if we use this direct selection tool, notice how that the anchors turned red. Okay, I'm going to click on this anchor, not the widget. We're on the outside. I'm clicking on this anchor. All right, and notice when I click on it, all the other anchors went white. That tells us they're not selected. Only this solid red one is. So now that I've clicked on it, I'm going to drag him in. Look at that. I'm going to go on the inside of these little dots, our dotted line guide. Okay. Now I'm going to come over here and I'm going to click on this anchor. Now he's red and the other guys are white. And I'm going to drag him over slightly inside of the dotted lines. Cool. All right. I'm going to do the same thing down here just a little bit. I'm going to grab this guy and I'm going to move him just slightly inside the dotted lines. I'm going to do that over here. Ta-da. And look at that. We have ourselves our wonderful shape match to the dotted lines. Cool. Okay. Other little note, if you see, I'm switching back and forth between my little hand icon and my magnifying glass. If I double click on the hand, my screen goes back to full view. Nice. Okay. Other little goodie I'd like to show you. We've moved anchor points. what if, like, when in looking at this shape over here, we're eventually going to make this guy. We know that we'll have to have like multiples of things, like there's several things that are similar. The left arm and the right arm look similar. So we're going to have to make copies, okay? If you click on an object, so I have selected this guy right here, this little uh, altered rectangle or square. I'm going to hold down the Alt key and I'm going to drag a new copy. Check that out. All right. Hold down Alt and we're dragging to make a copy. Okay. So you can make copies really fast of something that you've already drawn. All right. Moving on. We're going to head back and we're going to zoom in over here on this section where we're going to make a polygon. Okay, but we're also going to alter that polygon to make it into a basic triangles. Triangles are used for lots of helpful things in drawing, and we're going to make a basic one, but it's going to come from the polygon tool. Okay, I'm going to change color up over here. Let's see, let's make some other color. I'm going to go into, let's go into something green, a little brighter. All right, so polygon. I'm going to come out here sort of to the outer edge of the shape and I'm going to drag. All right, I'm going to bring this guy down and around and I will probably need to rotate him. I was pretty close to that size, wasn't I? Okay, I'm going to grab a corner and I'm going to hold shift so it keeps its constraint. And I'm going to inch it up just a little bit larger and I'm going to pull this down. Okay, so I got him pretty close to matching the size that I have here. Okay, but now we're going to bring this guy over here. I'm going to drag this guy over and we want to have a triangle. To have a triangle out of this particular shape, we have, look, we have anchor points around our bounding boxes, right? We have our widgets, we have our point of center, but along this outer bounding box, we have a diamond. And this little guy, if you hover over him, he's not actually on any of the points of the shape itself, but when we hover over it, we see a plus and a minus. So I'm going to minus. Look how it's going down. Ta-da! Now I have a three-sided object. If I push upwards on this guy, I can get more sides. Look at that. Octagons. Okay, so I'm taking this all the way down to 3. 3, one more down. There we go. And now we have ourselves our triangle. Isn't that awesome? All right, so you can add sides and you can take sides away from a polygon and get multiple options. All right, swinging on down this way. This Lego man's arms are kind of a rounded rectangle, right? And we have those up here. We have the capability of taking a rectangle and we will draw a rectangle. I'm going to change the color from this side just to be different. I'm going to double click. Let's choose something orange. Okay. So we're going to use this rectangle and I'm going to make the rectangle and we're going to make the rounded rectangle, right? I'm going to come in here on the widget and drag. That's pretty close to what I got there. Okay. Now let's alter it some more. We're going to bring it over here. We're going to turn it, hover on the side, going to turn it some more. I'm going to hover a little bit more. And I'm going to take these widgets as far down as I can go. Look at that. Now it looks like a capsule or a pill or something, right? I have removed any essence of straight that was originally there from our rounded rectangle. So if you take your widgets all the way down, you get this kind of a shape. Cool, because that's going to become some of his arms a little bit later. All right. We've looked at colors, right? And so what I wanted to be able to show you are a few things here. Let me deselect this. We had him as green earlier. He must have been selected while I was drawing. I didn't mean to change his color. Let's take him back to green. A few things I just wanted to show. They're reminders maybe from some other time when we discuss things, or it might be new information. these shapes here, this triangle was drawn before this pill shape down here, this long rounded rectangle, okay, this tubular one. And when I put him up here, look at that. He is on top of the triangle because he is the most recent thing we've drawn. In Illustrator, as you draw things, they ideally stack on top of the previous shape in pecking order, okay? Everything is currently on the same layer. We're drawing on this draw here layer, but everything, and if I move this, this is on top of that because we drew this after we drew that. Well, what if you don't want the green triangle to be behind the tubular shape? Well, here's the option. If I right click on the mouse, not the left one with your index finger, but the other one, right click, we go down to the word arrange. Because what we want to do is we want to arrange the shape so that the triangle is on top of the tube, right? So we're going to go over here and click on arrange, bring to front. Aha, check that out. All right. Now, what if we want the pill or the tubular shape to be on top? We'll do the same thing. Arrange, bring to front. Well, what if you're like, nah, I really like it behind it? So then we can go and right click on the tube, arrange, and this time we can go all the way near the bottom and it says send to back. Ta-da! So arrange, bring to front, or send to back will move your shapes around so that you're not trapped with a shape sitting on top of another one and you wish it was the other way around. Okay? All righty. So that's what we got for phase 1. Come back to me in just a little bit when you're ready, or tomorrow when you have time, and we will go into phase 2.